Hello everybody, this is Mithril Zenith. Last time we talked about killer weapons, today we're talking about the variant of killer weapons. When killer weapons started becoming popular in other weapon types, when it was no longer just the killing edge, but you had killer axes, killer bows, killer lances, you had to make sword masters feel more impactful, right? So let's give them the Wodow, or the Shamshir. We'll talk about that too. Was it good? Was it bad? Let's talk about it. But before that, sub to the channel if you like these weapon discussions, leave a like, and leave a comment down below on what other weapons you'd like to see me talk about. Till then, on to the video. The Wodow was introduced in the Binding Blade, has only existed in Binding Blade, Blazing Blade, Radiant Dawn, Shadow Dragon, New Mystery, and Three Houses. Shadow Dragon and New Mystery, I think it only came about because of the addition of Athena. Yeah. Wodow generally... Also, yeah, Myrmidon Swordmasters only. Or Myrmidon Swordmasters and Lords, or at least Lyn. Lyn, the Lord and Blade Lord. Shamshir, same sort of thing. It was only in the Sacred Stones. It was meant to provide a little bit more of an interesting flair. It's not a Wodow, it's a Shamshir, even though it has literally the exact same stats and the exact same restrictions. Myrmidon Swordmasters, Assassins, because Myrmidons could become Assassins, Melee Bonewalkers, Melee Wights, and Erica. Sure. Basically the same weapon. I'm going to be talking about basically the same. So, where do you get the Wodow? Where do you get the Shamshir? Generally, it comes on your second Myrmidon. Your first Myrmidon will come with a killing edge. Almost always. From Joshua to Guy, from Navarre at the very start. I guess technically Navarre's your second Myrmidon because Ogma's your first, but Navarre. Generally, the first enemy recruitment Myrmidon you get, the Navarre archetype, will have a killing edge. The Wodow then comes on the second. So, for example, we have Fear, you have Marisa in Sacred Stones with a Shamshir, Karel and Carla in Blazing Blade, Mia in Radiant Dawn, which is interesting, I guess, in Path of Radiance. It doesn't exist. Yeah, it doesn't exist in Path of Radiance. But yeah, Radiant Dawn, Mia. I guess Edward's your first swordmaster. Edward's your first Myrmidon, but Zihark is your first swordmaster recruit. He has the killing edge. Yeah, Athena comes in, or it's in a couple treasure chests in the online shop in Shadow Dragon. So that's where you get it. What does it do? The Wodow is slightly weaker and slightly stronger in different ways. It is 1 might weaker than a killer weapon. So, Killing Edge has 9 might, Wodow has 8. If a Killing Edge has 8 might, Wodow has 7. Slightly weaker. Generally, it's brought directly in line with the steel weapon, whereas the Killer Edge is 1 above the steel sword in terms of might. Weight-wise, it's usually the same as an iron sword. 5, 7 in Radiant Dawn. Radiant Dawn played with weapons quite a bit. It's about the same accuracy as a Killing Edge, but it gets 5, or in Binding Blade's case, 10 more crit than the Killing Edge. Is that a good thing? Is that worth it enough? In the Binding Blade, you might be able to make a case for that, because 40 crit plus 30 from Swordmaster, plus whatever you're getting for your skill and luck, you can easily hit 100 crit. 100% crit, you can get that with a regular killing weapon, Killing Edge, but the Wodow makes it even easier. Guaranteed crits. In other games, that 1 might, it doesn't seem like it makes a difference, but it does, because think about it, you're critting, so that 1 might becomes 3 might. And that can sometimes be enough to not get the kill even when you crit. Add on to that the fact that it's limited to Myrmidons, Swordmasters, and sword-using lords. I don't think the Wodow is that well thought out. I don't really like the Wodow. Now, I think something like Three Houses, where they give it exceeding crit, even above the killing edge. So yeah, killing edge, Wodow. It's very similar, but it just kind of becomes a slightly better. Yeah, slightly better because it's lighter, slightly better hit, slightly better crit, but same uses and whatnot and might, once foraged at least. It's interesting. But they also took out the requirement of only on sword-wielding classes because, Three Houses did that. But, Radiant Dawn did that too. I think the Wodow has a place somewhere, but its place overlaps so closely with the killing edge that you're generally just going to want more killing edges, especially when killing edges can be used by any sword-wielding class without requiring... killing edge can be used by any sword-wielding class. It has a slightly higher level requirement of C instead of D, but generally when you're getting a guaranteed sword character, they're gonna have a higher sword rank anyway, because they're only using swords. I think the Wodow is interesting, but I think ultimately it's kind of pointless, to be honest. I think... Now hear me out on this. If I were in charge of Fire Emblem, if I were in charge of designing the Wodow, of making it into this legendary sword that's supposed to feel unique and powerful, at least in Binding Blade, they talked it up. Mad talked it up. If I was designing this Wodow, this special sword, only usable by Myrmidons and Swordmasters, I would give it the Fire Emblem Fates Killing Edge ability. I would make critical hits even more powerful with the Wodow. That's how I would balance the Wodow, because you only get one, or if you get more, they're super rare. They're only usable on Myrmidons and Swordmasters. The Wodow should be, in and of itself, a reason to use, like, a key reason to use Myrmidons and Swordmasters. This should be something that makes you go, I really want to use that. Maybe I will put Guy back into my army. Maybe I will use Navarre. Maybe I'll use Corel, You should have these reasons to use these characters that come on weapons. I think that is a perfectly valid reason to do that. Who's looked at the legendary weapons in a game and said, I really want to use that bow. I guess I'll train an archer so that by the end of the game I'll have a reason to use that bow. We've all done it at least once. Who cares? I don't think it's a great strategy, but I think it's a cool way to talk about and invest in the game. I think it's something that creates natural replay value, because you're experimenting with these different types of characters and seeing what these things can actually do. The Wodow is perfectly positioned to be one of the big reasons to use a sword-locked, foot-locked character. And then it just drops the ball by not going ham enough. Buff the Wodow. Make it do 4 times damage on crits. Make it crit like every other attack. Give it something to make it stand out from the killing edge, please. I love the Wodow in concept. In gameplay, it sucks, because it is too fragile. You get 1 in the entire game. It's weaker than the killing edge, so I just generally just use a killing edge anyway, because that 1 damage often means a lot, especially on a Swordmaster who might not have the strength required to get those kills. Give the Wodow something else, something unique. If I was in charge of Fire Emblem, I would give it at least 40 crit, or I would give it that 4 times crit ability from Fates. Or if it's combat arts you want, like if it's Shadows of Valentia style combat arts or linked to weapons, I give it some insane crit combat art. But what are your thoughts? How would you balance the Wodow? How would you make it more useful? Leave a like, give me a comment down below on how you would do that. Let me know what weapon you'd like to see me talk about next. Until next time, this is Zenith signing out.